You know, when sometimes you get a new piece of information or just someone phrases something in a different way and it really changes how you view a certain subject. Well, that happened to me a few days ago while watching a video of another creator on YouTube. I like YouTube for that because I have gained so many new perspectives and learned so much from other creators. And this time I learned something new about minimalism. She just said it in like one sentence. And it really was one of these light bulb moments where things fell into place. And I thought, I need to make a video about this. I need to share this with you and talk about it and see if you can relate to and if that might be a helpful perspective for you too. So I gained a new perspective on minimalism because she was saying something about decluttering and getting rid of noise. And I don't think it was the first time I heard this, like noise as a metaphor for distractions and things that stay in the way of the life you want to live. And I mean, I've talked a lot about this on this channel, about like decluttering the things that don't actually mean something to you, decluttering trash, decluttering distractions, decluttering to-dos, decluttering all the things that keep us from living the life that we want. But it was something about this music metaphor that made me want to dive deeper. So let's do that right now. So for this new perspective, let's just see our lives as sound. And sometimes it's more noisy, sometimes it's more quiet, sometimes it's beautiful, sometimes not so much. But our goal is to get rid of noise and make our lives into music. And I would say minimalism would be a pretty great tool for that. Not only intentional living, I think, and just, getting to know what the things are that are important to you and setting priorities and all of these things that have to do with minimalism, they can really help us to make beautiful music out of our lives. The thing that I think is better about this metaphor compared to other ways of talking about minimalism, of like using it as a tool, setting priorities, just declutter everything that you haven't used in a month, things like that, is it allows us to have a more complete view. Let me tell you what I mean by that. And it's that music is still made up out of sound, and noise is also sound. And yes, silence is the absence of sound, yet a lot of times when we talk about silence, we would incorporate things like birds chirping, small noises from the world itself into silence as well, and say like, yeah, that's still silence, or these nature sounds, fire cracking, waters, like things like that. Viewing minimalism in this sound landscape would mean that we declutter all of the distracting noise, that we get rid of things, of sounds that don't belong into our music, but it also means that we can kind of rearrange certain sounds, certain instruments, a certain timing, and that the same thing that can be noise in some part of our piece of music can contribute to its beauty in another part of our lives, right? And to name some concrete things, I would say like that capitalism and advertisement, patriarchy and like strict gender roles and things that we have to do. These are distracting themes, or these are things that make us feel unfree in our music. And yes, you can have a good piece of music sometimes where you still follow like a lot of rules. But I think in the best case, yes, you would follow some guidelines that you have set for yourself, but then also kind of just break the rules and figure out a way to make it more emotional, to make it more beautiful, to make it more surprising, to change the pace, to make a piece of art with the sound possibilities that you have. And if we are talking about stuff, I think that would mean that yes, we need some stuff the way that we do need some instruments. Like we as people, we have our voice, but I think we don't have our voice if we don't have our body and maybe our health and things like that. And so I think there are like these very, very, very crucial things that make up our voice. But then we can add in some instruments that aren't maybe always absolutely necessary, but in most cases can make music a bit better, at least in certain parts of the piece. And so we can take in stuff and tools and things to help us create a more diverse piece of art. And I think the part that I like most about this is actually how it shows that our lives are always changing and never static. So it does make sense to maybe get rid of old stuff that doesn't belong to the current situation and phase of your life. But still, it does also make sense to carry certain themes along with you for many, many pages, minutes, whatever, years of your life, because usually there's something familiar, because it's still you, right? It's your life. You are the person, and the experiences you've gained throughout your piece of music, throughout your life, will influence the way you decide to change things up and what to do with your future. But it also shows that a good piece of music can be very diverse. Like, it can have its slow parts and its fast parts. It can have its loud parts and its like very, very silent, not silent maybe, but very quiet parts. And a good piece of music can feel different in different areas of the piece. And for me, this metaphor really helps me to see my life as something that does change, that can be hard in some parts, that can be really like outgoing and beautiful and light in our parts. It also shows that I need different things in my life depending on where I'm at. I need different people. I sometimes need more. I sometimes need less. And I can change my opinion to a certain amount because things are changing. Things sound differently, but then also certain parts stay the same mostly. Now, there are pieces of music where everything changes. And I think there are lives where everything changes at some point. And so I just hope that the way this perspective has kind of changed my view on minimalism, it can maybe also influence the way you think about minimalism, intentional living, and your life. And I think what's really important here is that this is just a picture. And I think you can discard it. You can say like, well, no, I don't need this. This is not meaningful to me at all. But on the other hand, I think not seeing this as the one and only truth, but adding this to the perspectives you already have of your life and of minimalism and intentional living and things like that, it can just help you to see a more diverse picture. It can just help us to understand ourselves and other people and our lives and stuff and our society a bit better. And that's something that I always try to do in my life, to not just stay in one place, but to actually go around a subject. And I'm trying to see it like from different sides and trying to figure out how it looks and how it differs from where I'm looking at. And that also goes for myself, right? I'm discovering new things about myself, things that I might have thought are true turn out to be a bit differently without like the other thing being completely wrong in most cases. Like, yes, there can be optical illusions, maybe also audio illusions, I don't know. But what happened there to me a few days ago was just like, wow, this adds value to the way I view my life and the way I am the composer, and I am in control to a certain part, but I'm also underlying some laws of physics. And I'm gonna try to make my life a beautiful piece of music. And not everyone needs to understand it, but some people might appreciate it. And I do hope you liked today's video, even though it was maybe a bit different from other videos I've shared in the past. But I'm also going to link you a video here that you can check out. And I want to say thank you so much to all of my patrons. They do get an extra episode of a podcast that's just available on Patreon. And there's also a new German podcast going live. You can see in the description down below. But that's it. Thank you to my patrons. Thank you for watching. And I hope to see you in this video or next time. Goodbye.